Good morning, everyone. It's been a while since I did a video, and trying to get my camera adjusted here just a little bit. But I just had something that Yahweh gave me about 2 weeks ago, maybe more, but I didn't get a chance to. I immediately wrote it down, but I just didn't get a chance to record it and do this message on it. But some of my other videos, the last several videos, have been when Yahweh just dropped a word into my spirit, and I love times like that. That's when I really feel like I'm hearing from Him and getting a download. But so this, I'm going to go back, and what had happened that I had a dream, and I'm just going to tell you the dream first, and I got it all wrote down because I didn't want to forget any of it, so just bear with me. And the title of this message is Untempered Mortar. So a few weeks ago I had this really strange dream, and that morning after I had the dream I went to my son's and we were kind of talking about the Bible and everything, you know, just a little chit chat going on, and for some reason he said the words untempered mortar, and I kind of had forgot about my dream, but as soon as he said those words, it hit me that about my dream, and it went right with my dream because he explained to me what it was, and boy, it just took off after that. So I really got a good download. But anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and share the dream with you. I dreamed I was at this big convention. I used to go to them all the time years ago when I was in a Sunday church, and I went to this convention, and there was people there from everywhere. There were hundreds of people there, all kinds of them. And so I was in the background of the place. I was doing some kind of serving or something, but I had long dark hair, but I didn't have any makeup on, and for some reason I felt awkward not having any makeup on, but anyhow, I didn't. So I kept on serving the food, and around the property of this big building, this beautiful building, was this great big lake. And this must have been break time or something, because there were people outside swimming and letting the kids swim in the lake and stuff. But inside the building, they were just like so dressed up, it looked like they were going to a ball instead of a revival. I mean, there was so much gold and glitter going on. I thought maybe I stepped out of the door into Hollywood or something. So anyhow, the kids are swimming and stuff, and I'm up on the second floor, and I looked down from where I'm, the room I was in, and I looked, and I could see into the water, and there was some kids swimming in the water, and all of a sudden, just under the surface of the water, laying on her back, was this woman in a white gown. Her gown was flowing in the water, and she had a white scarf around her neck. It was flowing, and at first I thought, well, there's somebody just swimming on their back in the water with a big white gown on. But there was a white poodle under the water too, and I thought she was trying to save it then. And all of a sudden she just picked up this little white poodle dog, innocent dog, and she just ate it viciously under the water, and I could see all this. And I started screaming out the window for everybody to get out of the water, that there was danger in there, but nobody would listen to me. So I went downstairs, and still all the way down telling people, don't get in the water, don't get in the water, there's something wrong. So I ran over to where the little kids were playing, and I was going to get them all out of the water before this woman would come along and get them. But I looked down, and there's this little creature that looked like a seal, but it was maybe as big as my dog, 10 pounds, something like that. And it was swimming towards the kids, and they were all, you know, just loving it, thinking it was so cute and innocent. And the closer it got, I could see that it had a man's face on it. And it just jumped up and was lunging for the kids with sharp teeth, and I grabbed it by the throat. Well, this little thing only weighed 10 pounds, but it was so fierce and so strong, I barely could get it, and I had to keep going till I choked it. That was the only way that I could stop it. And so the kids got out of the water, but still nobody would listen to me. They thought I was crazy, as usual. But anyhow, so then the scene moved to, I was back in the building. You know, in dreams, you go from one scene to the other. So I was back in the building, and one of my cousins was there, and she asked me to go home with her. Now, this has nothing to do with the message, but I thought it was funny that in the dream, amidst all the chaos and everything, my cousin said, "Why don't you come stay with me for a while? Maybe you'll find a husband." So I just thought I'd throw that in there for a joke. So anyhow, while no one believed anything I was telling them about the water, because there was a lot more details about it, but as soon as Johnny said the words untempered mortar, it just made sense. So I come home and started looking all this up. Now these words are found in Ezekiel 13, but here's the definition. Not brought to a proper consistency or hardness. Untempered mortar, untempered steel. Synonyms: unhardened, brittle, unannealed, metal or glass, not annealed, and consequently easily cracked or fractured. Untempered, used of mortar in Ezekiel 13, 10 through 15 and 22-28. Tefel probably refers to mortar made with clay instead of slaked lime. Slaked lime, that's a hard one to say. In the interior of Palestine and Syria, walls were still commonly built of small stones or mud bricks, and then smeared over with the clay mortar. The surface is rubbed smooth and is attractive in appearance. This coating prolongs the life of the wall, but requires yearly attention if the wall has to stand. Ezekiel used this practice to typify the work of false prophets. They build up stories and make them plausible by an outward semblance to truth, while, in fact, they are flimsy, unreliable prophecies, resembling the walls described above, which can be broken down and pushed down by a heavy rainstorm. I will tear down the wall you whitewashed and level it to the ground, so that its foundations is exposed. The city will fall, and you will be destroyed within it. Then you will know that I am Yahweh. So back to the dream. When Johnny said those words out of the blue, it all made sense. The people that were there for the revival were really there to show off and brag. They cared more about money, clothes, and gold things of the world than they did anything. They had become like the whitewashed tombs. They no longer had the appearance of believers anymore. Their kids were allowed to lay with danger. The mean little seal, I believe, is the trappings of Satan and the Disney Barbie culture and so on that's going on. Now, at the time of me writing this, of writing all this down and having the dream, the Barbie movie had not come out yet, and I haven't seen it. I'm not going to see it. I don't know. I can't say anything about it because I don't know. But I just know that that's the exact words that I got a few weeks ago before all of this started. And now it's sort of like Barbie is an idol, like the golden calf. Not that people are worshiping it, but they sure are giving it a lot of attention. And it's all tied into child trafficking, and the kids are in danger. Letting your kids dress just any way they want is an open door or invitation for this child trafficking. So anyhow, the woman under the water looked pure and clean at first. Then her true identity come out when she swallowed up the innocent. You may not like this, but it came to me that the untempered mortar is referring to the Torah. All God's word is to be applied to our lives. It's the mortar that bonds the walls and keeps us together as a whole and as a body. The guidelines of the Torah instruct us how to live. Without it, there is no foundation. No foundation, people. Believe what you want. I believe this dream was for me and for many others. For years, I have seen many keep going back to the altar with no change in their lives because they are untempered mortar. No biblical foundation. Today, to read the New Testament, they're told to read the New Testament, and they're never told to go back to the Old Testament and get the whole of the book, never guided back to where it all began. I was one of them who believed the lies they were taught and shared the lies. Now I have a rock-solid foundation built upon the instructions given to Moses for my benefit and for your benefit. Whitewashed tombs, like Yeshua said in Matthew 23:27. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you are like whitewashed sepulchres. It's when they just mix up some white clay, and instead of really repairing like the cracks and stuff, they just give them a good show, like putting a little makeup on. When you don't look so good, you put a little makeup on, you look better. So that's what they were sort of doing, is putting a little makeup on is all. So they were like white sepulchres, which is gravestones, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead men's bones and of all uncleanness. So without the Torah, you have no real foundation. The Torah is the glue. Now believe me, this dream, you might say this dream means something else, but this dream is exactly what this is about, what I'm telling you. The Torah is the glue. Torah means teachings and instructions. So Satan didn't like saying teachings and instructions, so he advised somebody to use the word law. Everybody runs from the word law. This is a little side note. The Torah means you're hitting the mark. If you don't, you miss the mark. If you sin against God's word, you miss the mark. But there's always grace. We can come back to it. So many just believe the word law is, the law's done away with. And Yeshua died on the cross and he hung the law there. No, he didn't. He did not do that. He is all about the Torah, God's words, teachings, and instructions. That's how we are to live on this earth. That's how we are guided daily. So the Torah means teachings and instructions. It's our foundation. Every word, every time the word begot so-and-so, begot so-and-so, that's important. The numbers in the Bible, the tribes in the number, all the places you think are boring are the places that teach us about Yeshua. You got to go all the way back and learn. Then you'll know what Yeshua was about. Not just hear about what he did when he was on earth, but you'll know what he was about. And it's also the place where we begin to have the fear of God. It's the same God in the old as it is in the new. I've actually heard people say that I don't think the God of the New Testament is the same God of the Old Testament. One seems really mean and the other one's, real sweet. Well, that's totally wrong. He's the same God. Yeshua is in every book of the Bible. As we read and study, meditate on this word, we are mixing the straw in the mortar to make it more sturdy. Meditate in Hebrew means to chew on it a while. Bring back up and chew some more. That's what a cow does. The cows, they get a big piece of that cud and they'll chew on it, swallow it, and then they'll regurgitate it up, chew it on a little bit more, and they'll do that several times. They're getting the full potential, the full flavor. And that's what the word meditate in Hebrew means. You're chewing the cud. Your house, your spiritual walk will not stand without the whole counsel of God. Listen to the words of Yeshua. Therefore, whoever hears these sayings of mine and does them, I will liken him to a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, and it did not fall, for it was founded on the rock. But everyone who hears these sayings of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand, and the rain descended, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, and it fell, and great was its fall. So, the first guy, the first group of people he's talking to, the wise man, he built his house with tempered mortar, with the whole counsel of God. And the second person, that's house fell like sand when a rainstorm came, he was like the untempered mortar. No foundation, nothing a holding, no fear of God. And so that's why he fell. So study from Genesis to Revelation. It's all important. Even the maps are important. You never read a book by starting in the back. You read the beginning to get your foundation. If you do this, you'll be a tempered mortar. So don't be a whitewashed tomb. Be a tempered mortar.